The self-fulfilling prophecy is real. Here's the study that proves it. The Pygmalion Effect and Your Money Mindset. In 1965, a group of children in a San Francisco elementary school were given an intelligence test. Their teachers were then quietly told which students, based on the results, were identified as academic bloomers, children on the verge of significant intellectual growth, students who, over the coming year, were expected to flourish. What the teachers didn't know was that the list was completely made up. The researchers, psychologists Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson, had randomly selected those names. The bloomers weren't identified by any test. They weren't smarter, more prepared, or more capable than their classmates. They were just names on a list that their teachers now believed in. And yet, by the end of the school year, the students labeled as bloomers showed significantly greater gains in IQ than their peers. The effect was most pronounced in the youngest grades. The children hadn't changed. The curriculum hadn't changed. The only thing that had changed was what their teachers believed about them. And that belief alone was enough to alter real, measurable outcomes. Rosenthal named this the Pygmalion Effect, after the Greek myth of a sculptor who carved a statue so beautiful, so real, so full of his belief and devotion that it came to life. The idea at the heart of it is both simple and staggering. Higher expectations placed upon individuals lead to an increase in their performance. But how? How does a belief in someone's head translate into a different outcome for another person entirely? Rosenthal identified 4 mechanisms, and they're worth understanding because they don't just explain classrooms. They explain every relationship, every team, and crucially, every conversation you have with yourself. Teachers who expected more from certain students created a warmer social and emotional climate around them. They gave more encouraging feedback. They offered harder material, signaling belief in the student's capacity to handle it. And they paid closer, more genuine attention when those students responded. Nobody announced any of this. None of it was deliberate. It happened invisibly, through tone, through attention, through the subtle daily language of expectation. The students felt it, absorbed it, and grew into it. Now here's where this moves beyond a classroom study and into something that applies directly to your life. Tel Aviv University professor Dov Eden demonstrated the Pygmalion Effect across all sorts of work groups, across all sectors and industries. He found that if supervisors or managers held positive expectations about the performance of those they lead, performance improved. When a manager communicates high expectations, the worker's actual performance tends to increase to match those expectations. This effect has now been observed in militaries, in sports teams, in hospitals, in corporations, across cultures, across industries, across every context where one human being holds an expectation of another. But there's a shadow side to all of this that the researchers were equally careful to document. The inverse of the Pygmalion Effect is called the Golem Effect, named after the creature from folklore that becomes a monster. When low expectations are communicated, performance decreases to match them. Many performance issues in organizations are not skills deficits at all. They are the result of a golem effect cycle initiated by someone in a position of influence. Low expectation, reduced support, diminished performance. The belief confirmed. The prophecy, negative this time, fulfilling itself just as reliably. So let's bring this somewhere personal. Somewhere that might matter more than any classroom or boardroom. Research published by the Financial Planning Association found that negative financial mindsets, beliefs like, I am bad with money, or I don't have enough money, can result in poor financial outcomes. Read that again carefully. Not predict poor outcomes. Not correlate with poor outcomes. The research frames it as a causal mechanism. The belief shaping the behavior producing the result confirming the belief. This is the Pygmalion Effect turned inward. You are simultaneously the teacher and the student, the manager and the employee, the sculptor and the statue. And the expectations you hold about your own financial life, about whether you are someone who builds wealth, someone who figures it out, someone who finds a way, are not neutral observations about reality. They are instructions, quiet, persistent, invisible instructions that shape what you notice, what you attempt, how you respond to setbacks, and how long you persist before you decide you were right about yourself all along. Think about the language you use around money. Not the language you use publicly, the language that runs quietly in your mind. I'm just not good with money. People like me don't build wealth. Every time I get ahead, something knocks me back. I don't understand investing. It's not for me. Every one of those statements is a teacher reading out a name. And your behavior is the student in the classroom, quietly shaping itself to match what's been expected of it. The research doesn't ask you to pretend your current situation is different to what it is. It doesn't ask for toxic positivity or wishful thinking. What it shows is something far more precise, that the expectation you hold about where you are going measurably influences whether you get there. So here is the genuinely hopeful part of all of this. If the Pygmalion effect works because of warmth, attention, challenge, and genuine belief, then you can become that teacher for yourself. You can choose to offer yourself the tone, the attention, the stretch goals, and the consistent quiet message that you are capable of more than you've yet shown. Not because it's easy, not because the path is clear, but because the research is unambiguous. Belief in potential is not just a warm feeling. It is a mechanism, a real, documented, replicable mechanism that changes what people do, what they try, what they persist through, and ultimately what they achieve. The statue doesn't come to life by accident. It comes to life because someone believed in it completely and acted accordingly every single day. The question is simply, are you willing to be that person for yourself? Like and subscribe for more.